An absolutely unbelievable night of baseball leaves your Detroit Tigers a game and a half out of the wild card. Let's talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get 3 weeks free of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know. I don't know. I am in shock of sorts. The Detroit Tigers take down the Royals at Kauffman 7-6. They are now 78-83 on the year and move to 1.5 games out of the American League wildcard on September 17th. That was an incredible night. Honestly, if you're a Detroit sports fan in general, right, and there's some people that are just Tigers fans, and then, you know, our Canadian friends that are Tigers fans, I don't forget about y'all. Some of y'all are, you know, like in hockey, like Leafs fans or whatever, which is unfortunate, but we'll forgive you for now, at least on this show. But like Lucas Raymond gets a huge contract to start off, you know, the evening, kick off the evening, and Detroit's fired up. Then they're playing the biggest game they have played, they being the Tigers organization, has played in arguably 8 years. And like the thing is, that's not me saying, oh, that's the biggest game they'll play the rest of the year. No, every single day, every day, they wake up and the Detroit Tigers play the most important game the Detroit Tigers organization has played in 8 years. Every day is the new most important game since 2016 when they barely missed out in the playoffs. It really felt like a movie. Like I'm not trying to be overly, I don't know, like sappy or corny or whatever, but like it genuinely felt like a movie. Like while you were watching, like like Moneyball when Billy Beane hears the crack of the bat from Scott Hatteberg in the weight room and he like turns his head and that's how I felt when Matt Veerling hit that ball to right field. The Detroit Tigers with what? My calendar's over here, sorry. With 2 weeks left? Yeah, almost exactly. I think exactly 2 weeks left as of Tuesday in the regular season. 1.5 back. And I know that they don't own the tiebreaker, so some people get really particular about how I word that. They do not own the tiebreaker with Minnesota. So if they are tied with the Twins at the end of the year, the Twins make the playoffs and the Tigers don't. There's no more game 163, which, you know what? Pitch clock, whatever your opinion is of that. Runner on second rule. Not very many people like that. Bigger bases, stealing rules, pickoff rules, etc. All of that I have lived with and taken in stride. I will never forgive Manfred and Major League Baseball for taking away game 163 tiebreakers. Ever. I will never do it. Ever. Moving on. So the Tigers need to have a better record than the Minnesota Twins on game 162, or else they will not make the postseason. Okay. So you could say it's technically 2.5 games. I don't care. I don't care right now on Tuesday, September 17th. I don't. The standings say 1.5, and that has me fired the heck up. This has just been so unbelievably fun, and I'm in. I have dug my heels into the ground and really tried to keep my playoff hopes, I guess I'll call them, and my optimism as far as the postseason goes at arm's length. I really have. I've made that very clear on this show. I'm not saying they're definitely going to make it. I have no clue how this ends. I've been wrong about so much this season. But what I do know is that, as a fan first, always a fan first, I am at the end of the day, right? The Detroit Tigers are as true of a love as I have in this world. And I can tell you that I am all in on rooting for the postseason. Because this is no longer like a pipe dream or something that is, super unlikely, but, some of the super optimistic fans are talking about and whatnot. And it's like a fun storyline, but it's not going to happen. Like, no, this is now a team that is in the thick of a playoff hunt and a playoff battle in late September. That is what your Detroit Tigers are for the first time in 8 years. It's possible. It's not just a Hail Mary. It's not some crazy fantasy. It's not a bunch of mental gymnastics you have to do to justify what you're rooting for. You're in the hunt. It's you. It's the Twins. You're battling for one playoff spot. Who's going to get it? And we haven't felt that kind of baseball since 2016. Unbelievable night. So what went right in this game? The answer to the Grand Slam, I think, is the most, I don't know, like aura-filled moment or moments from this game. That was the part that really felt like you were watching a Disney film, right? You gave up a Grand Slam. Reese Olson gives up a Grand Slam. You're down 4-0. Seth Lugo's having a phenomenal season, mind you. And you just start chipping away. 1 run, 3 runs, obviously the Colt Keith homer. You got shut out through 3 innings, gave up a Grand Slam, and then proceeded to score 7 runs in the following 3 innings after giving up the Grand Slam. That is incredible. That is magical. So many great performers come out of this ball game. Parker Meadows 2 for 5. Kerry Carpenter 1 for 3. Wenceel Perez pinch hits for Kerry Carpenter in this ball game and eventually gets a huge hit. He ended up with 2 ABs, gets a huge hit in this game to tie it up. How great is it to have him back from injury? And like this is literally what we all talked about. The entire fan base was like, okay, Wenceel Perez is a dog though. Like just get him back from injury. And then, even if he's not an everyday starter necessarily, he can play, provide meaningful ABs. He had such a clutch factor about him when he was healthy for this team in the middle of the summer. And he just comes back from AAA. He hasn't played, Major League Ball in whatever, a month and a half, comes back from the rehab assignment, and almost immediately, I know this wasn't his first game back, but like almost immediately has one of the biggest ABs of the year. Matt Vierling, also one of the biggest ABs of the year, 3 for 5 with an RBI. Matt Vierling is now hitting .261 with a .741 OPS and is doing it lately against both handedness of pitchers. That plus the athleticism that he brings you in the outfield and the versatility of being able to play in the infield has just been so valuable. This dude has legitimately been a middle of the lineup bat for you. And I still think in a perfect world, that's probably not the case. I don't think Matt Vierling's like he hit cleanup in this game. Hit third, actually. I don't think Matt Vierling's the 3 hitter on like your ideal Tigers team of the future. But I'll be darned if he hasn't, proven that he can be an everyday starter. Even if he's bouncing around different positions, an everyday contributor, an everyday starter that can run into 20 homers and provide for you a lot outside of the batter's box as well, man. Huge tip of the cap. Great ball game. Huge hit. Fastball inside, gets in on the hands, takes it inside the ball, takes it the other way into the gap there. Gets a huge RBI. And then Colt Keith. Let's talk about him right after this. Got to talk to you today about our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because, unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. Also, for the month of September, one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you one win on Prize Picks every week, like I said, in September. That's right, only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend this month. That's 4 weeks of free W's. You only got 2 left. All right, so get in on all the action here. Don't miss the deal on Prize Picks because it's gone when September ends. You can also now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks. We've talked about that a lot with as little as 4 correct picks. So download the Prize Picks app, use code LOCKEDONMLB, and another promo, you can get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 2 against the Royals and talking about anything else surrounding the Tigers organization and this great playoff push. Also, be sure to check out Jake Rietma over at Locked On Postcast, Locked On Tigers. If you're listening on audio, it's already there. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, rather, Locked On Detroit Sports, he goes live and does immediate post-game reaction live, so you can kind of interact with him while he's talking. It's a lot of fun over there. He does a great job. And like I said, audio version in the Locked On Tigers feed. So talking about Colt Keith, well, we're talking about what went right. Colt Keith definitely crushes a hanging changeup over the heart of the plate. There's a lot that we're going to talk about with Colt Keith in the winter. There's a ton. I could go on for like 4 hours about his approach and all of the small minor adjustments that I would like to see him kind of utilize, or even if it's not like exactly what I'm saying, just the areas of improvement I feel like he needs to take in the batter's box, right? We'll break down all of that. But the fact of the matter is, this dude has constantly and consistently just been making adjustments throughout the entire season. And it's been a roller coaster. There's been a lot of peaks and valleys that come with that because he is a rookie. But you see the flashes and the glimpses of a really, really good, cornerstone type of player here. And man, when he gets a hold of a ball, there are a few things prettier, right? When he really gets a hold of one, and I'm waiting for the fastball timing to link up where he can, pull a fastball, but in the air, that is. But man, when he really turns and burns on a ball, it's poetry in motion, baby. That is one of the things where I watch swings like that and I go, how can anyone not just absolutely be in love with this ridiculous game? Poetry in motion. A lot of great performers, though. Like I said, Torkelson, couple of knocks in this one. Riley Greene, 2 walks in this one. Zach McKinstry, a couple of knocks. Couple of big hits as well. All of them get on base twice. This is the gritty Tigs, baby. This is the gritty Tigers. Shout out to Side Joe. If you know, you know. Absolute dog. But Doug, specifically. But absolutely unbelievable. And the fight that this team continues to show is so awesome. And it's not just on the offensive side of the ball. We've talked a lot about how absolutely vital the bullpen has been for this team in the entire second half and during this run since the trade deadline. Gunther gives up a run. Hannafy gives up a run early, but then shoves the next inning and a half to 2 innings, goes 2 1/3, gives up the 1 run. Looked fantastic after that, though. Will Vest just absolutely, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a family-friendly way of saying what I'm thinking. Dude really just put everything on the table. Okay. He made his presence known. And it is electric. we have our the things we've talked about with Will Vest, inherited runners, et cetera, et cetera. But this dude has, what's his ERA on the season? Yeah, 3.05, right? He's had a good year. Hasn't given up his runs very often. And when he can really just yank 98 to 99 at the top of the zone, it is a hitter's worst, a righty especially worst nightmare, because you have to respect the slider. He's got a really, really bendy slider, and that combo that he has of 99 up and slider low and away to righties is, you're living in heck there. And he had it got a little dicey there, almost allowed some runs, didn't though, got out of it. Bobby Witt Jr., we'll talk about him later. Dude is unbelievable. Unreal. And then Bo Brisky. Bo Brisky got himself in trouble, almost made the entire fan base chase him out of town with pitchforks, and then proceeded to become everybody's favorite player, all in the span of about 45 seconds. That all happened in less than 2 minutes, I think. It was wild to watch unfold. The command was really getting away from him there. And then I don't know what he did, right? What zone he went to, what place he went to in his brain. But he needs to buy permanent real estate there, because this dude went and closed his eyes and locked in and came out on the other side throwing 100 miles an hour. I think the exact velo was 99.5. Regardless, fastest he's thrown a pitch all year. The radar gun on television said a hundo. I dang near fell out of my chair. I was sitting on the couch. That doesn't make sense, but you get what I'm saying. Electric factory. Then gets a double play right after, is fired up about it. And then you have Jason Foley, who closes the door. I know a lot of people wanted to see Holton there. The fact that they won this game without using Tyler Holton, now you can use Tyler Holton the next 2 games of the series. Beautiful. Beautiful. And that strikeout for Foley had to end the game. I know people are looking at Tommy Pham and are like, what are you swinging at? Dude, that is pitch sequencing, okay? That's not an accident. Tommy Pham is not a garbage hitter. Go watch that at bat. It's sinkers low and away. It's a slider low and away. He's bouncing a slider way low and away, just eating, throwing low and away. And then boom, sinker up and in to a righty that moves in on the hands in the righty. I don't care that it's a foot high. That thing looks very hittable, and it's like gyroing up because it's a sinker at 98 up at your eyes. Eats the hitter alive. And then defense was great in this ballgame, man. Colt Keith, I thought, had a fantastic play with 2 outs in the 9th. Or it was the second out there in the bottom of the 9th, rolling to his left, which is something that he's the range has been good, but getting the ball in the glove over there, like the footwork's been good. The glove work hasn't. So getting that out, I think was really good. That'll be an overlooked play there. And then Torkelson scooping the ball like crazy in this game, man. Zach McKinstry just spiked the ball into the ground like he was playing volleyball, and Torkelson scooped it out. Huge double play, saved a run. Did that a couple of times in this ball game. Fantastic. What went wrong in this game? I only have 2 moments. Okay, only have two items in this category. One, Reese Olson's return, not the best, okay, but I don't actually have too much to say because I don't think it was as bad as the final line says either. 2 1/3, 4 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Obviously, the home run against was Bobby Witt Jr.'s grand slam. I'm going to be honest with you, I think he threw 1 awful pitch. That's kind of it. Yes, he gave up 4 hits. It was kind of, I'm not trying to make excuses for the dude because he is a swing and miss pitcher and wasn't getting as many swings and misses as we're accustomed to. But for his first game back from the injured list and getting just thrown into the fire, he comes back from the IL. He's only thrown 2 or 3 innings down in Toledo and all of his rehab starts. He hasn't pitched in the majors in 3 months. We just go, oh, hey, we're in the thick of a playoff race. have fun against a playoff team that we need to win against, and a 10 WAR players batting third, by the way. Like, it's just a wild business decision to just throw him out there, but they're going to need him to be a starter down the stretch. And so you kind of have to throw him into the fire and, hope he can handle it. And I really, it was kind of BABIP-y, right? Like Torkelson diving play just out of reach, ball that kind of blooped over Colt Keith's head. I don't know. I wasn't too terribly upset with his pitching, except for the pitch to Bobby Witt Jr. was terrible. That was a slider that he basically said, please hit a grand slam. I'm begging you. Not actually, obviously, but that's really the only issue I had with it. There was one more moment in this game that drove me absolutely nuts. Thankfully, it didn't cost the Tigers. If you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about that, and then we'll get into stuff right after this. Got to talk to you today about our friends over at FanDuel. You've heard us talk about FanDuel a lot. America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have a little something different for you today. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then when you get a base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you want. Just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all as always. So, what went wrong? The last thing I want to bring up here is the Spencer Torkelson slipping and whatnot. I don't blame Torque at all, man. I saw a lot of people. I know it's like trendy and like cool to pick on Torkelson because of his career so far and whatnot. I do not blame him for that, even 0.5%. That is Joey Cora just absolutely fumbling that situation. And at first you look and you go, oh my goodness, Torkelson slipped. Then they show the side angle and you can see the Detroit Tigers third base coach sending Torkelson until he's standing next to him and then goes, hey, the ball's there, bud. Go back to third. Joey Cora caused him to slip. It was a huge run in the ball game. It was a huge out in the ball game. You know what the difference is in like mathematically in the odds of scoring a run when it's second and third, 1 out versus man on second, 2 outs? Astronomical. That is an insurance run that my heart and my blood pressure and my therapist probably thinks that I could have used. Thankfully, this is not about me. Never has, never will be. And thankfully, the Detroit Tigers still hung on for a victory. Let's talk stuff. Okay, got a lot to go over here. One of my biggest takeaways from this game, to be completely honest with you, is that Bobby Witt Jr. is a generational talent. And I hate admitting that because I cannot stand the Kansas City Royals, but golly, do I respect them. They have been a thorn in the Tigers' side for my entire life. And that is why I am of a generation that cannot stand the Kansas City Royals. Just constant memories of them. No matter how good the Tigers are, no matter how good the Royals are, no matter how bad either of the teams is, always just been frustrating. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be an absolute menace to the Detroit Tigers for the next, 15 years. I'm in my mid-20s. He's probably going to bother the Tigers till I'm in my 40s. Probably, right? And that's terrifying. He's going to put up a 10-win season. Do you realize how absurd that is? Right? Like if you don't even need to be like the biggest analytical, like baseball nerd there is. Like just to have a base understanding of, statistics and baseball stats and whatnot. A 10-WAR season is ridiculous. He's going to probably do that this year if you like Fangraphs WAR. I prefer Fangraphs WAR. I don't even know what his B WAR is, his R WAR is. But he's unbelievable. And it's a feeling that I have when the great Tigers killers of the past come up to the plate whenever he steps in the batter's box. Whenever J-Ram is up there, whenever, back in the day, like Billy Butler, whenever Jim Tomei would step up there. Tim Anderson before his fall off, right? Like they're Whit Merrifield, if you want to stick in the Royals organization again. I already mentioned Billy Butler. Golly, those teams just drove me nuts. Eduardo Escobar, Omar Infante, who I love. That's a dog, but Eric Hosmer, just Lorenzo Kane, those teams just drove me nuts. But um, that's the feeling I get when he's up there is Tiger killer. But it's not just Tiger killer, he's league killer. He's I have a 10 war season and I'm probably going to bag a couple of MVPs in my career. The Royals also are really good, and that's a complete hand up wrong, right? I have been wrong about plenty in my life. I will be wrong about plenty more. As far as baseball goes, I don't fear being wrong. I tell you guys that all the time. But that is something I was absolutely wrong about, was the Kansas City Royals. That is a team that consistently applied pressure all game. It was not, okay, we blew the lead, let's roll over, we don't really need this one or whatever. No, they continuously base runner, base runner, base runner. And the Tigers had to pitch with their back against the wall the last 3 innings pretty much consistently. And I give them, again, for as much as I may not like them from a fan perspective, all the credit in the world and respect from an analyst and from a baseball perspective. Also, what made Monday night rather, so magical, the Cleveland Guardians win against the Twins on a Kyle Manzardo 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th. A tank. He's fired up. It's one of the most electric baseball clips of the season. I can't believe I was yelling like "Go Guards" in my living room. That felt almost like gross. I felt like I was like doing something wrong or like illegal. And the fact that in that moment, the Tigers started clawing back, right? The Tigers were back within 1 run. They start making some noise, and then Cleveland takes the lead, and they have Clase, who is not going to give up a run. It's like they win, right? It's pretty much it. And it just added to the aura that was Monday night, man. Also, Manzardo grew up a Tigers fan. His dad was born and raised in Flint, Michigan. Phenomenal stuff. I have a lot of ties. My dad also from Flint. Just how can you not be romantic about baseball, baby? The the kid with some Michigan ties helps the Tigers out in a Cleveland uniform. This was such a huge win for a lot of reasons. But in terms of this series outlook, it's really big because you have Skubal pitching this series, right? We talked about that yesterday. You needed to win game 1, and you did. And you were down 4-0 in the 3rd, and you won. Because now you just need to split the next 2, and you have Skubal pitching in one of those next 2 to win the series. That was incredible. And we'll end on this. Like I said at the beginning of the show, dog, like I don't know how this ends. The math nerds, and I'm one of them. That's not me. Let's not slander. And like the calculations and the websites that calculate playoff odds and stuff still say the Tigers are it's relatively unlikely that the Tigers are going to make the postseason here and get over that hump and get over the Twins. You're a game and a half, again, 2.5 games, I guess, technically, because of the tiebreaker. In about 2 weeks is still an uphill battle. And you play the Royals for 2 more games, and then Baltimore for 3 games, and then Tampa, who is not a playoff team this year, but is still a very good and well-run team. That's not a cakewalk, man. And so this is not the end game. I don't want to celebrate this as if this is all we wanted to do. We just wanted to be a game and a half back on September 17th, and now no matter what happens. But I will say, though, even if they do fall short, this has been so amazing, and this is something that this city has waited for and deserved for just so long. Tonight, Monday night, as you're listening to this, was genuinely the only word I can just find was magical. And it wasn't for a ring. It wasn't for a playoff spot. It was to become a game and a half, maybe even 2.5, again, tiebreaker, games back from the wild card in the middle of September. If we were the Mariners, our fan base would be like, what a disappointing year. But no matter how this season ends, no matter what does happen, tonight will always be unbelievably magical and awesome. It will always be that. And hopefully, years from now, we can look back on September of 2024 and say, you know what? The I don't know, when was the Little League Classic? Was that August? That the end of the season of 2024. You had the walk off there. You had the grand slam in San Diego. You had this night where Cleveland hits a go ahead homer late, and you take a lead late after falling behind early, and get within 2 games, and you can point at it and go, you know what? Maybe they did fall short, but that was the start of it. That was the start of winning baseball in the city of Detroit again. And golly, does it feel good to say that. 8 years. Far too long. Games matter again. All right, we need to wrap up. I'm not crying over like a game and a half back, okay? Job not finished. A wise man once said. Casey Mize versus Cole Reagans tonight. You're going to be the underdog in this game. You go to FanDuel, you're going to look. Cole Reagans is phenomenal. You're going to be the underdog. It's just we need to remember we have Scuba going in game 3. I'm not asking for a loss. Please win, because then you're set up for a sweep. I want to win out, okay? I am saying if they lose, I don't want to read a bunch of comments about how the season is over. If you win a series against the Royals, that is a win. That is a successful series. The Twins have 4 against Cleveland. You're still in it, okay? But you know what? Just because, let's go get a win anyway. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow. We made it. It was a long 8 years, but the Detroit Tigers are in a playoff hunt. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. We'll talk about that playoff hunt a little bit more tomorrow, baby. Go Tigers.